GKW. It is so great to be back. What an adventure that we had the last several days. We were on a cruise and out there on the Margaritaville. I will do a separate video talking about that experience. And for anybody that would like to understand how cruise work, I would do a video to explain pros and cons from ship to ship. We've gone 3 different cruise lines now for a couple years. So again, we'll come back on the video and I'll do that. However, today is about real estate. So um, first and foremost, again, I appreciate you guys being here and tuning in. Let me just check. Let me just pull the MLS real quick and I will discuss it with you guys. Okay. So all right. So let's jump into the numbers first. And again, if you guys are new, I post every Monday. Sometimes it jumps into a Tuesday, but I try to post every Monday. I did one last week when I was on the cruise ship. But again, what the post is about is the market updates, market rate, programs. How is the market buy and sell side doing? Other questions that people bring up, we try to answer, but I try to keep it within 10 to 15 minutes. Normally, it's maybe under 5 minutes. All right. So let's jump into the numbers. Let me just share this real quick. All right. It's been a long week, guys. So let me get back into this. Let me see. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me swap this. I swear it feels like it's been a long time. All right. So let's look into this, guys. So if you guys can see the screen that I have here, coming soon. Oh my gosh, let me make this a little bit bigger. All right, much better. Okay. So coming soon, 27 new listings, 53, and this is the Minnesota market. Backup market, we have 8. Price decreases, we have 62. Price increases 4. Pendings, we have 145. That's great for a Monday. Closed 95, cancellation 23, expired 13. So again, how do you understand these numbers? This is live directly from MLS as of right now, okay? And if you look at the bottom here, last 24 hours. So how I interpret this is, again, it's still kind of the end of August. People just started, students just started school last week. Some are starting next week. Some were a week ago. So whatever the case is, the coming soons, new listings, and the properties are dictated by the sellers. Do they want to move when their kids are going to school? Have they moved already? Are their kids registered already? So we always see that August is a tough month because people are coming back from vacation and people are transitioning their kids, so they don't want to buy or sell because of the unknown, right? So I'm not surprised to see a low coming soon and new on market. However, the case, backup market are the ones that fell apart. Price decreases are 62. That's still higher than new listing, and it should be because if properties are not selling, they're getting reduced. Okay. So I don't see anything abnormal here. This is exactly what we expect to see in the end of August here, transitioning to September, which is going to be a more interesting month to see rates coming down and hopefully to see a lot more properties come out as students start to settle in. Pennies, 145 is a good number. Again, most Mondays I see between 120 to about 200 or so. Monday and Tuesdays, you're going to see a lot more pendings. Close about 100 per day is kind of common. As you get into the week, it might pick up and double in number. However, again, I'm not surprised because it's supposed to be a slow time as parents are transitioning their kids. Okay. So let's get out of this screen. And if you have any questions, comment below. I'd be happy to discuss that some more if you guys have questions on that. Okay. However, the case, those numbers to me feel very normal for this time of year, especially for Minnesota. Wherever you guys are, your market may be a little bit different. However, those are very common numbers that we see annually. And so I don't see anything there surprising. But let's jump into some of the other details that I want to cover for you guys today. Okay. So market rate, what is the market rate doing right now? So if you guys saw my post Friday, this past Friday, the market dropped, the rate dropped. Again, whatever the Feds decide to do, whatever cuts they decide to do, it changes the market rate, and it did drop. Okay, it dropped down to 6.37, and then FHA was at 6%. We've seen that maybe one or two times this year at most at that 6%. However, again, it jumped back up. Okay, so today it's like 6.5 or 6.6, depending on your credit score, it may change. However, that's kind of like best case scenario. That's what the market is doing today. Okay, so it went up a little bit, but we're still that mid six. Okay, 6.5. That's roughly where it sits. FHA was like 6.12 or 6.15. Again, it depends who you ask, depends on what the interest rate is that you get based on your credit score. Okay, what does that really mean? Like I mentioned a few times in my videos, your interest rate is dictated by your debt to income, your credit score, and how trustworthy are you as a buyer. Is it one person? Is it two people? Is it three people? The system spits out an approval with the interest rate based on the data that it collects. And depending on if one person is holding the mortgage or three people are holding the mortgage, it will change the um, strictness, or it'll change the liability, and it'll give you a different percentage. Okay. So don't time the rate just on what you see. It is great to buy when the market's down. However, the case, if you're not approved, if you're not even looking, and you don't go pending, you cannot lock the rate. Okay. So it's good to know the rate, but you got to do something about it, because if you don't have a property under contract, the rate does no good. Okay. It does nothing for you. All right. So the next question we have is now a good time to buy and sell? Okay. I still see a lot of people posting questions, even though I was overseas cruising in the Mexico area. I still see a lot of people posting questions about, how do I buy, or should I buy now, or should I sell? If I want to sell and buy, how do I do that? Whether you're a DVA or a regular buyer or whatever special case it is. Okay. Um, First and foremost, always talk to a trusted real estate professional who is licensed, who's been doing this a long time, and has done what you're trying to do. Okay. Don't hire somebody who hasn't done it in what you're trying to do, because it's going to be more complicated. In the toughness of this market, in the last 3 years, has been a tough market. However, the case, if you're listing at the wrong time with the wrong price, wrong terms, it's going to be harder to sell. Okay. And if you're trying to buy, what are you buying? Brand new build, pre-existing, farther out, house with land? What are you trying to buy? Right. It depends. So when we cater to that, we try to figure out what your game plan is, and we figure out, can we get there? And then we come up with a plan, and then we execute the plan. All right. So again, I would say that now is still a good time to buy and sell, because there's properties coming down on price. There's still lots of buyers out there, including the ones that I have active. They're still looking. So there's still properties out there that we don't see. All right. So we would love to see more property. Okay. If you're trying to sell, if you need help understanding your numbers on how to sell, or how much you can net when you sell, would love to pull numbers for you free of charge. No commitment unless you decide to use my team to help you get there. Let me know, comment below, or message me on Facebook. We'd love to have a conversation with you. If you need some help there, it is still a good market. If you do things right, it's still a good market. Okay. Let me see here. The other question I have is, what do you do if you're facing a pre-foreclosure and foreclosure? I saw a lot of these questions last week posted on social media. Like, I wasn't even looking, I saw these pop up all the time. Okay. So first and foremost, it is different for every person. Okay. I've helped people through a short sale before. I've seen foreclosures happen before. They're different for every state. Maybe cities could host it differently, but states generally dictate the process on how you foreclose. Normally, the process is, if you're delinquent 3 months behind schedule, they consider you pre-foreclosure. Okay. That's when they send out an email or a letter statement saying that you are delinquent 3 months. You're behind. If you don't do something when you hit 6 months, they're going to foreclose you. You need to call them and create a package, or to be honest, they send you to a creditor, and they call you nonstop every single day. I went through this before with people that I knew. It is not pretty. It's not easy. Once they send you to a collections creditor, it's nonstop. You don't sleep. They bug you all the time until you pay everything up, right? So understand that if you're behind, talk to a financial lender if you know somebody you trust, or talk to a real estate professional. Maybe you need to sell. Maybe you need to create a game plan and cash back up. Maybe you need to, I don't know, change whatever it is that you're doing, or maybe it's just really the price is just too high. It doesn't make sense for your life, right? So you are better to sell, even if you took a little bit of a loss, or a big loss, which is considered a short sell if you have to. But again, understand that the short sale process is kind of complicated. Okay, I'm not a specialist on this. However, I've gone through it before. If you're doing a short sale, you literally have to be behind 3 months or more, and then they want to look at all your data. They want to make sure you cannot afford it. They look at every single bank account, including all the people that live with you. Can you afford it? Can you make it work? And if you cannot make it work, then they look, after looking at all your private stuff, and this is a long process, like a month or so, okay? Then they decide that they'll let you do a short sale. And if they decide to let you do a short sale, then you have to go through an attorney, and then of course, figure this out. And then once you figure that out, you can list it on the market for a short sale. And then of course, as somebody is trying to offer, you go through an attorney and the bank, and you go back and forth until something gets agreed upon. Again, I'm not a short sale specialist. I've gone through it before in the past. However, I know the process can change. So just understand that short sale is not a short period. Okay. I know people might think, hey, I can just sell in 30 days and be gone. No, short sale is probably between 3 to 6 months on average time. Okay. It is not easy to do. The banks don't want to take a hit, so they will prolong this process. But if you're not delinquent in 3 months, they won't even talk to you about short sale. Okay. So if you're delinquent a few months and you're trying to catch up, you can talk to a bank to get it caught up, or if not, talk to a real estate professional. If you need to sell, you want to get on the market ASAP. Okay. Again, I don't know if you had to, you could talk to investor, but I would not go that route unless you had no other option. Investors are always going to give you the lowest bang for your buck, and they want to take over, and they want to turn it into an investment or flip it or do something. So most of the time, they're taking your equity out. Okay, when you can take it out yourself. However, every situation is different. So sometimes you may not have but 10 days, and then you do have to go to investor, because a cash investor can close out in 10 days. All right. However, if you have a little bit more time, get on the market, sell it at the right price, get it sold, take it off your hands, and start over. All right. So again, just a little bit about that. Again, that area is a little bit gray because it depends on your situation. I don't know that you should sell just because you're behind. It depends on your life situation and what makes sense to you. However, talk to a real estate professional, talk to an attorney if you need to, talk to a trusted loan officer if you need to. However, understand the loan officer work for the bank. So if you're calling the same bank that you're behind on, they're not probably going to give you a lot of plans, okay? Because they're probably going to send you to a creditor, not a creditor, but like a company that's taking over. If you're delinquent, they send you to a collections company, and then it's a different tone, okay? They don't treat you like you're a customer anymore. They treat you like a criminal, okay? That's just what I've experienced dealing with that in the past. It is not fun. I hated making those calls for the people that I knew. However, the case, that is how it works. Okay. So if you have any questions, comment below. We'd love to help you, even if I don't have the answer. I have a team of people that I know that I can go to get answers for you if you need help. Don't go through it yourself. I've seen a lot of people posting about it. Don't drop your home and do a deed in lieu and give it back to a bank unless you have to. You're going to take a hit. It's going to feel just like a foreclosure. Okay. Short sale is still better than a foreclosure. However, the case, it is not a short process. Okay. So again, if you have any questions, comment below. We'll love to answer, or any topic you want me to cover outside of that, let me know. Comment below. I appreciate you guys and your time. I will come back on and post a couple of different stuff. However, that's all I have for you guys today for the market update. And if things do change on Friday, which sometimes we do see a shift in the interest rate, I'll do another post. If not, I will see you guys back on here on Monday to cover another episode of Real Estate Market Update with you guys. And again, I hope it helps you guys. But again, I know kids are going back to school. So again, if you're trying to buy and sell, it is still a great time. You just have to time it correctly. So let me know what I can do to help you guys. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.